Imagine this. July 22nd, 1991. Milwaukee. A young man runs out of an apartment building, handcuffs still hanging from his wrist. He stops two police officers and screams, "He's going to kill me." The officers follow him back inside. Apartment 213. The moment they step in, a horrible smell hits them. In the refrigerator, a human head. In the closet, a polished skull. In a large drum, a body dissolving in acid. Polaroid photos are everywhere. Photos of bodies before and after. That night, the world discovered Jeffrey Dahmer, a man who seemed normal, quiet, polite, but behind that normal look was something deeply disturbing. Today, we're diving into his story, from his troubled childhood to his first kill, to the horrifying crimes that shocked the world, and how it all came to an end. Let's get into it. Jeffrey Dahmer was born on May 21, 1960, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. His father was a chemist, always busy. His mother struggled with severe depression and constant anxiety about her health. Their home was never peaceful, just arguments, shouting, tension. When Jeffrey was 4 years old, he went through a painful surgery, and after that, something changed. The energetic kid people once knew became quiet, distant, withdrawn. The family later moved to Ohio, and that's where things started to get strange. Jeffrey became obsessed with dead animals. He would pick up roadkill, bring it home, and dissect it, not out of fear, but curiosity. He even kept the bones, preserved them in chemicals. One day, his father found him under the house playing with bones. At school, he didn't fit in. At Revere High School, he was completely alone, an outcast. By the age of 14, he was already drinking heavily, hiding alcohol in his jacket, even bringing it to school. On the surface, he seemed normal enough. He played in the school band, played tennis, but behind that, something darker was growing. He began to realize he was gay, but it wasn't love he wanted. He wanted control, total control over another person. In 1978, his parents went through a bitter divorce. His mother left, taking his younger sibling with her. His father was gone too, and just like that, at 18 years old, Jeffrey was left completely alone in an empty house. And that loneliness became the beginning of something far more disturbing. June 18th, 1978. Just 3 weeks after graduating high school, everything changed. An 18-year-old hitchhiker named Stephen Hicks was walking along the road on his way to a rock concert. That's when Jeffrey Dahmer saw him. He offered him a ride, invited him back to his house for a few beers. At first, everything felt normal. They talked, they drank. Nothing seemed out of place. Until Hicks said he wanted to leave. That's when Dahmer panicked. He didn't want to be alone again. He grabbed a dumbbell and struck Hicks in the head. Then he strangled him. That moment changed everything.
What happened next was far more disturbing. Dahmer later admitted that he violated the body and then tried to erase everything, dismembering it, using chemicals to get rid of the remains, breaking the bones until nothing recognizable was left. Years later, he said this, "I knew it was wrong, but after that, I didn't want them to leave." And then, everything went quiet. For 9 years, there were no more murders. On the surface, Dahmer tried to live a normal life. He went to college, but dropped out because of alcohol. He joined the military, serving as a medic, but was discharged due to constant drinking. Eventually, he moved back to Wisconsin, living with his grandmother, working ordinary jobs, trying to appear normal. But underneath all of that, something was still there, growing, waiting.
By 1981, after nearly a decade of silence, it started again. A man named Stephen Tuomi met Jeffrey Dahmer in a hotel room. The next morning, Dahmer woke up and Tuomi was dead. He later claimed he didn't even remember what happened, but what he did next was deliberate. He moved the body, hid it, and began trying to erase the evidence. That was the moment everything changed, because after that, he didn't stop. Dahmer moved into his own apartment, 924th North 25th Street, and there, a pattern began to form. He would approach men at bars or on the street, offering money, photos, something simple. Most of them were young. Some were just teenagers. Many had no idea what they were walking into. He would bring them back home, offer them a drink, and then something wasn't right. The drinks were drugged, and once they couldn't fight back, Dahmer was in control. What followed became darker and more disturbing with each victim. He kept things, objects, remains. He took photos, not just to remember, but to relive it. At one point, he even tried something unthinkable, attempting to control his victims completely, to make them stay forever. In total, 17 victims were confirmed. Some of the most tragic cases. James Doxtator, just 14 years old. Konarak Synthasophon, also 14. He actually escaped and ran into the street. Police were called, but Dahmer convinced them everything was fine, and they let him go back inside. That decision would cost him his life. Oliver Lacey, Joseph Braidhoft, the final victim. By 1991, everything was accelerating. Victims disappeared one after another, and inside that apartment, something horrifying was building. A place no one could imagine, hidden behind a normal door in a normal neighborhood. And no one stopped it until it was too late. July 22, 1991. Everything finally unraveled. A man named Tracy Edwards ran out of an apartment building, handcuffs still hanging from his wrist. He flagged down 2 police officers and said something they would never forget. "He's going to kill me." The officers followed him back inside. Apartment 213. The moment they stepped in, something felt wrong. Then they saw it. evidence, photos, and something far worse hidden inside the room. What they discovered that night exposed the truth about Jeffrey Dahmer, a reality far more disturbing than anyone had imagined. He was arrested on the spot, and soon after he confessed, not just to one crime, but to everything. When asked why, he gave a chilling answer. I wanted to control them, to keep them with me forever. In 1992, the trial began, and the entire world was watching. Dahmer claimed he was insane, but the jury disagreed. They found him legally sane, responsible for every crime. The sentence? 15 life sentences in Wisconsin, plus one more in Ohio. A total of 16 life sentences, 941 years in prison. And then, in court, he said something unexpected. "It's over. I never wanted to be free. I know I'm sick, or evil, or both." For the first time, there were no more victims, no more hiding. But the story wasn't over yet. After his conviction, Jeffrey Dahmer was sent to Columbia Correctional Institution. At first, he was kept in isolation, but later he was moved into the general population. He lived a quiet routine, cleaning bathrooms, working in the prison gym. Then, something unexpected happened. Dahmer said he had found religion. In 1994, he was baptized. He claimed he felt remorse, but not everyone believed him. November 28, 1994, Dahmer was assigned to clean the gym with two other inmates, Christopher Scarver and Jesse Anderson. There was no close supervision, and in that moment, everything changed. Scarver had been watching him, studying him. He was disgusted by what Dahmer had done. He picked up a metal bar and struck. Twice. Dahmer collapsed. Scarver later told the guards, "God told me to do it." That day, Jeffrey Dahmer died. He was 34 years old. His body was cremated and his ashes were divided between his parents. Years later, his father, Lionel Dahmer, tried to understand it all in a book titled A Father's Story. This isn't just a story about crime. It's a story about how someone can look completely normal and hide something terrifying underneath. It's about missed warning signs, about a system that failed, moments where things could have ended sooner, but didn't. And maybe the most disturbing part of all, Dahmer once admitted, "If I were free, I would do it again." So what do you think? What shocked you the most? The failures? Or the fact that he got away with it for so long? Let me know in the comments. If you found this story disturbing and unforgettable, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more true crime stories like this. And remember, not every monster looks like one.